Hello everyone, welcome. My name's Vieran, and today I want to talk about playstyles and do they really matter in Neverwinter. So I've been told many times that it doesn't matter what playstyle you are as long as your character is built correctly and you've got the right rotation. I disagree with this. So I was talking to a viewer who is basically copied my rogue build, and they claim that they can't get to the top on the DPS scoreboard. Now, personally, I don't really care about the scoreboard. It's probably a nice way of seeing how you stack up against other people, but this person just can't seem to get to the top. And a lot of the time, he says that he's waiting for the tank. That is his play style. He waits for the tank, he doesn't run ahead. He's literally one of the DPS that the tank and healers dream of. He doesn't run ahead, he doesn't go and blitz the dungeon or anything like that. He plays the game specifically how it is supposed to be played. You are supposed to wait for the tank. However, a lot of DPS, the majority of the DPS, including myself, we do run ahead. And that is why playstyle matters. Think about it like this. So, you've got 3 DPS in a dungeon. You've got one that is waiting behind. He's just waiting for the tank. He will not go ahead of the tank. Literally a dream DPS. And then you've got another 2 that are running ahead. Them 2 are taking out all the mobs. Therefore, that DPS that is waiting is missing out on all that DPS. Just because you don't top a DPS scoreboard does not mean your DPS is sucky. It's all in the playstyle. For example, there are many dungeons that I run ahead on, but there are many dungeons that I don't run ahead on. Running ahead is a playstyle. So if we're doing hardcore Voss, I would not run ahead because you're not allowed to die. Whereas if we're playing a normal Voss, maybe I'll run ahead a bit. It's hard to run ahead in Voss. So let's say something like IC. I've run ahead many times in IC. If I was doing hardcore IC for whatever reason, maybe I just like pain, I would not run ahead because you can only die once. Well, actually, you can't die at all. If you die, it gets reset, and the run is pretty much void. It's pointless. So playstyles matter in terms of the content you are playing and in terms of your goals as a DPS. So if your goal is to top that scoreboard and flex like all of us do, you have to run ahead. That is the playstyle that you need to adapt to, because you are always going to have at least one DPS in your run that is going to run ahead. And it's usually that DPS that runs ahead that is going to top the damage board. However, before the tanks and the healers start getting pissed off, if you are running ahead and you die, that is not the tanks or the healers' fault. That is your fault for running ahead. I always say it say if I run with randoms, I say, look guys, I'm going to run ahead. If I die, it's on me. It's no one else's fault except my own. It's just a playstyle that I've adapted to, and it's a playstyle that I use in specific content. However, a lot of the time, when DPS run ahead and they die, the tanks get blamed. The healers get blamed. Everyone gets blamed apart from themselves. And that is where you are mistaken. If you are running ahead, you are trying to top that scoreboard, it is your fault if you die. A lot of people, like myself, can avoid dying with our roles because we've been playing the game long enough to know when to dodge, what to avoid, how to survive. Does it always work? Of course not. Sometimes we die. But a lot of people in this game right now seem to blame the tanks and the healers for them running ahead. I have seen a DPS say, why aren't you guys keeping up with me? And I'm thinking, it's not their job to keep up with you. You are not the tank. The healer and the tank pretty much stay united, stay together. And the DPS should be in the mix with that group. That is how to play the game correctly. However, if your goal is to top that scoreboard, you have to run ahead. But as I said, if you die, that is 100% your fault, and you should not blame the tank or the healer. So, we've talked about getting the most DPS out of your build with the running ahead. So what's next? Well, next is survivability. There are going to be times where you need to survive, because a dead DPS cannot put out any DPS. You're dead. And then obviously if you do go down and then you've got the res sickness, your DPS is going to be significantly lower, even with the res sickness boon. So again, situational. There are a lot of times where you want to survive. Surviving will also give you a good boost in your DPS. It's about learning the dungeons, learning which dungeon you can run ahead on. For example, when we're looking at T9, I run ahead throughout all of that. All of it. Apart from the bosses, because obviously you've got to wait. But I pretty much run ahead because I know I've run it more than enough times to know what to avoid, when to avoid it, how to survive. However, if I'm running an IC, I will not run ahead. I will focus on survivability, because them mobs hit hard, and I don't want to get that res sickness, because then my DPS is lowered. So I want to output as much DPS as I can. Each dungeon is situational about your playstyle and how you want to run it, basically. So it's just about knowledge and thinking about what you're doing. You want to run ahead in T9, go for it. You want to run ahead in IC, that won't work out well. So again, it's about knowing your strengths, your character weaknesses, and yeah, playstyles do matter. That's why in Hardcore Voss, we all change our playstyles, because we have to survive. If you want them Band of Air regents, you have to survive. So you wouldn't be going all in, just all guns blazing like you would in a regular T9. Your playstyle switches and you don't even know it's switched a lot of the times. It's just what your brain does. Oh, we can't die, so I better be more conservative. And then our brain just changes it for us. It's quite amazing, to be honest. But the first time I went in Hardcore Voss, I stayed at the back. Like, I wanted no part of it. I was so nervous, and that is how my playstyle changed. And then when I went in T9, maybe after a couple of Hardcore Vosses, I just steamrolled through it all. So if your main aim is to output the most DPS onto the scoreboard, depending on the dungeon, you are going to want to switch playstyles. As I said, if you're in like an FBI or a T9 or something like that, because the scaling doesn't hinder us as much in there, so you can actually run ahead. Do not blame the tanks and healers. If you go down, it is 100% your fault. Or you can go with the IC, or even the older epic dungeons, which seem to hit much harder than the T9, than the FBI and all that stuff. But for example, you've got MSPC. I don't run ahead in there either. I focus on surviving, because you can get overrun real quick with mobs in there. So it's just about knowledge and knowing what playstyle to adapt when you considering what dungeon you are going in. It's all on you. However, your playstyles matter, and if you think about it, your playstyles change more often than you think. Playstyles is a huge thing when it comes to characters. For example, if I copy a Northside build, if I copy Aragon build, if I copy Galactic Underwear build, I'm not going to be able to run them characters as they would, because the playstyles are completely different. So if you're copying and pasting a build, then you've got to adapt their playstyle, and it's hard to learn their playstyle if you don't run with them every day. It's just how it is. Some people can get the most out of their character through their playstyle. Some people can get nothing out of their character because of the playstyle. So playstyles play a huge factor in Neverwinter, more than people actually know. But let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments section. Do you think playstyles matter? Personally, I think they do. That's just my opinion. Let me know yours down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. You want to make your way back to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.